Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. I have a very, very special guest here for the show today. Can you go ahead and announce to the world who you are and where you're calling from?
Sure, my name is Roberto Capodieci. I live in the tropical island of Bali in Indonesia, in Southeast Asia, but I am Italian. So I grew up in Italy. I've been living in the United States in the past. Now it's 20 years that I'm here. And world is so big, why not to visit the different places?
Yeah. What is the temperature out there? Is it usually 70s or 80s or how is it?
Right, in Fahrenheit, I have no precise recollection now, but it's hot. We keep AC on all year round, so that's good enough to understand and it's very humid as well, which is the most annoying. AC is more to keep the air dry rather than cold. It's very humid, but it is pleasant nonetheless. So many people come here for holiday. I have my own swimming pool. If I'm too hot, I jump inside the cold water. Beautiful.
Before we get started, I just had to know what is the culture like out there? You've been there for 20 years. What is the culture like out there?
Yeah.
I apologize. So let's start from the top. I just wanted to say, how is the culture out there? And I will edit this. I promise it's going to look really nice, good in a bow, a tight bow. I
No
promise you.
problem. I don't know what happened, but okay. All right.
So,
So the
how's the
culture,
culture? Yeah.
yeah, the culture in Bali is very interesting because it's a Hindu island. So predominantly people is Hindu in here, and they have a very talented, innate talent on craft. So everything's so beautiful. The artists showcase with fruit, flowers, and the dresses the women wear are amazing. And also buildings have all decorations around, so it's very very nice. And in fact is one of the hot things that tourists come to look at. Plus there are very interesting dances that they perform that are culturally connected. So it's a very interesting thing, and it's also interesting that the Hindu people from India come to Bali to see how the Hindus in Bali are living the religion in a very different way from the way that the Hinduism is lived in India.
Okay. Okay. And last but not least, tell me about like the food that they have there, and then I'll leave it alone. And then I'll talk about your past leading up into your
No, no, no.
present.
Food is very interesting. When I first arrived, I thought it was fried rice with the 10 different names, and it was always the same thing. But then you learn to understand it. And It's funny because in a majority Muslim country, which is Indonesia, I think is the country in the world with the biggest quantity of Muslim people. The Hindu here best dish is the pig, is a roasted pig, and they're cooked in a very interesting way. I actually love how it tastes, and I often order some portion, or we get one small piglet, which is I feel very sorry because I love animals, but like I love them both when they're alive and when they're in my plate before eating them. So it is very succulent and good to it. Plus, yeah, there are many variation of vegetables and other things that they cook. So yeah, but beside Bali being a touristic destination as restaurant with food from everywhere in the world. So if I want to eat Mexican, if I want to eat Thai, if I want to eat Italian, there is always somewhere to go or to order from. Yeah.
Cool. And tell me about your past leading up into your present.
Right, my life has been interesting. I am 51, and I've been experiencing things very early stage all the time. So I started learning coding computer when I was 5 years old. I started already selling video games and making money when I was about 10 years old. I started clubs for electronics and things before then open actual company at 14. And I learned by doing how to run and manage a company where I have to be about 50 people. So it grew quite a lot. Not a huge thing, but to be a teenager and managing a company with 50 people is not easy. I was sneaking into the University of Business Administration just to learn things without ever having
Wow.
a school title to be there. But there were classes with 400 people. The teacher would never seen the intrusion that I was made. And yeah, and then I had this love for the culture of the United States. I started spending holidays there, was making money in Italy, and then spending them traveling around. The first time I arrived in New York, I purchased a car and I went up to Quebec City and then down to Key West, all traveling all the East Coast, which has been very interesting. I was 18. I think I risked my life many times without realizing in the situation I put myself, but nonetheless has been an adventure. And I keep going back very often. So I made friends in Florida. So I end up being very often in Florida. You can imagine most Italian people own restaurants, so I've been eating the best food without having to pay. But at the same time, when they were in trouble, they were calling me, like helping them out to wait tables. It was a very golden moment in the United States. So people will work a week and then not show up at work the next week at the time, and there were moments where there was nobody to work at the restaurant. Once I even started cooking for more than 40 people that were at the lunch without being a chef. But being Italian, I know the basics. So and this has been interesting because it really gave me an opportunity to see life from many perspectives.
Mhm.
Then when Bush got reelected, I decided to leave, and that's the moment that I thought China will be the next big economical power in the world. But I couldn't speak Chinese. I tried to learn it, but to not to fail only. So I
It's
thought to go.
amazing. I don't mean to cut you off, but I was watching their symbolism and I said somebody, we kind of copied off of them because they have symbolisms, which is kind of like little apps that tell a story about what, a sentence or a paragraph about what this sentence is going to be about, like little symbols. And I said to myself, that is so they're smart. They're smart people. And it's hard. That language is very hard to learn. I wouldn't even try. But I appreciate them in their language. But I'm okay. But
Yeah,
I'm glad you tried. How did it
I
work out for you?
it worked out that I never learned it, and I never went to China again. So I was going to Singapore, which is an island with, I think, on one of the top spot in the world for technology and innovation. It's like a little bit what Switzerland is for Europe, Singapore is for Asia. So there are all the money of all the people in Asia there. It's a beautiful city, but at the time was quite boring as well. Now is a beautiful, brilliant place. At the time was very gray. People were just working, and so I was calling Singaporean. And then I was packing my stuff and going to Bali for just a weekend, for another weekend until I pack everything and I moved to Bali for good. And at the time, Bali was really not much developed, so the road were not even with an asphalt on it. There were bicycles around. You can see a little bit of motorcycles. Very few white people were living there. It was a very interesting thing. Now you must have heard the book Eat Pray and Love, or the movie Eat Pray and Love that Julia Roberts has done. The story is really touching. Italy, where I'm from, and Bali was, the lady was living really at 500 meters, or what do you want to say, 500 yards from my house. And after she published the book and they make the movie, there has been a wave of ladies on their 40s coming here searching for love. And the immigration started skyrocketing later with the Ukrainian and Russian wars, being a huge immigration of Russian, Ukrainian people, and so on. It's now is super developed and is more staying in a city rather than the countryside they used to be. But it's beautiful also to live in a place that transforms with time, because you get to see the different aspect of life. So yeah, been a good experience as well.
So you got to ride the wave of the infrastructure that they did over the past 20 years, is it?
uh, Totally unregulated. So people were just building without permissions. I think that the buildings that there are in this island, maybe only 2-3% are recognized by the government to exist. And we remain with no water, no electricity, because the island, the infrastructure, even roads, are not meant to support so much people. So they did a lot of work to over try to compensate, but there has been a period that were blackout, that were programmed in order to use the electricity a little bit each. Now everything is fantastic. Internet is amazing. There is everything is stable. But we went through very interesting times, I want to say, during this thing. But it's still a place where a lot of things are possible. So when people talk about the American dream, I will say the South Asian dreams now is something that exists. People can make a lot of money with very little investment. If things don't go well, the loss is minimal. If things goes well, the gain is a lot. So it's an opportunity place, and a lot of people are coming here to make money.
Tell me about decentralization and what it
Decentralization,
means.
all right. Well, means to remove the man in the middle. In most cases in our life, we elect a party to be the party that all the truth. So let's say the vehicle identification number of your car is registered with some government office who says that is your car. If you sell it to me, we need to go to update the names in this government office, right? In a decentralized manner, it will be something that is managed by a decentralized system, and the exchange will be directly from me to you. One classic example are cryptocurrencies. If you want, with regular money, we need to go through the banks, even more than one, because I talk to my bank talk to your bank talk to you, right?
Mhm.
In crypto, I'm gonna send them to you. There is nobody in the middle that can says no or whatever. So it is a necessity to move in the direction in certain cases, because we need to control our own data, our own information, and not put it in the hands of others. we are in a moment where information is the commodity of value. Think about any social media platform that is for free. When things are free, you are the product, right? So all the information that you generate are sold, and that's what makes money. Facebook rather than many others. In this case, with the decentralized system, there is no somebody in the middle that can profit from information, and the control of information start from you. So let's say if in a world where decentralized things were there, if you get a new phone line, then you open a bank account, then you rent a house, you need to provide documents, and you give your documents to them, and they handle it and manage it, right? So in fact, if you change address, you need to inform the driver. The driver license need to be updated. The all your billing need to be changed, and each of these parties handling your data for you. While in a decentralized manner, you just update it for yourself, and then these people from you, authorized from you, can see the new address. So you don't need to go and give to them, but they will come and take it if you authorize them. So it is a beautiful way to uh, give control to the people about what they do. But this comes with a responsibility as well, because obviously there is nobody in the middle that can help you if you make a mistake or other things. So it is an interesting way to go.
I wanted to say, give an example of what you're saying. So what you're saying is it's kind of like real estate when somebody buys a property and probably have more peers come on to buy the property. That's kind of like what you're saying, the middleman, because you need those people to buy the property with you that front the money. They're the middleman.
Yeah, you can. In fact, real estate is one of the market where one tool of decentralization, which is the blockchain, is well used to tokenize a property. Say you want to invest in 10 different real estates area, but you don't have the money to put 10 million, 1 million per place. With the tokenization, you can even invest $100 only for place, because there is no paperwork, there is nothing. Your digital token represent a share, if you want, a piece of that property. And
I've
you know
done
the
that.
right, then you can exchange with other people directly. The limitation is never the technology, is the regulators. Is this legal to be done or not? Some country make it legal, other country not. Depends on the laws. The United States were very much forbidding everything until recently. Trump opened the door to a lot of these things, and whatever people may think of Trump, but he creates a lot of opportunities in using this sort of technology connected to the financial market. So it's good in a way. There are a lot of scam attached to it, so people need to pay a lot of attention what they do. But is a step forward, the right direction, in my opinion.
Did you hear about the electrical systems that's going to double here in the United States to get more power generated for us, our country?
Yeah, there is a lot of demand of electricity now that they want to make data center for artificial intelligence, which is a huge race many countries participating to. I do believe the United States easily gonna lead the world in this, because they have the means to actually achieve these things. China is another big front, because they also have very good means to access a lot of electricity. Europe is a little bit left behind in these things, unfortunately. But yeah, electricity should be, and I can't wait it to be something that is like water. I mean, like everybody should have a free access to it, and there should be almost unlimited the resources to have it. I think it's something is going to happen eventually in the future. There are some stuff, something that is very terrible in the United States, in my opinion, is health. Most of the country in Europe, you go to the hospital, you don't pay anything. It's funny, there are even places that they reimburse you the taxi fee that you took to go to the hospital. Like in the US, if you don't have the right insurance, is like health is something very expensive for citizens that live there. But I think health should be a basic right of humans, of a citizen. You need to
Yeah.
be able to be okay. So if you need to go to the hospital, nobody should ask your money. It's funny. Once I had an accident, like I just slipped. I hit my head very bad. I needed 3 stitches in Thailand. When I arrived in the hospital, I was in this. Like in bad condition. They before arriving to even ask me how I'm doing, they arrive with the credit card machine to make me do a deposit in order to then proceed. And I think this is very bad. It's not nice. And anybody gets sick in Italy, they get taken care of. It doesn't matter who you are, what country you're from. You're sick, you go to the hospital, they take care of you, and that's I think a good thing. Same thing. A roof on the head of people, electricity, water, food. Those are basic rights that we should have, and every government should provide them. But let's see.
So I agree, by the way. Um, Quantum computers.
Uh-huh.
Where do you see quantum computers? Like, because we're in Web 3, but I still say we're in Web 6, seeing as though you have the Neuralink and you have a new device that all you have to do for those who can't speak is think about what you want to say, and a
Right.
computer that they give you will translate it. So, what do you think about quantum computers for the future, and where do you think they will be for the future, and how do you think they will help us?
All right. First of all, it's important to understand that quantum computing is not the same thing like the computer, the notebook that we're using every day. They're just a very particular kind of calculation that they do. And so you don't have like a normal computer or a quantum computer that you use to play solitaire or other things. That's not the case. Quantum computing is something you attach to your computer to do certain calculations. So the beauty of quantum computing is the ability to prospect billions of possibilities at the same time, when a normal computer can do just one per time, right? Because normal computer works with electricity, so it's either on or off. A quantum computer works with qubits, which can be in any position between 0 and 1. So in creating tons of different possibilities, you can extract the result of a very complex calculation super fast, pretty much. That's what it is. Which means that where there is a trial and error kind of approach on things, quantum computing is super fast. But super fast means that in a minute it does the work that a normal computer would do in 5 billion years, or even something insane, in the speed. So everywhere you need to potentially see the outcome of something, which is amazing for research, for medical things, for studying the space, for breaking encrypted things, etc., etc. Quantum computer is very, very powerful. Combined with AI in terms of seeing how things go, probably we're going to see very interesting things. That's the fact that quantum computing is slowly coming to the consumer level, in terms that university can have one rather than larger, because it still costs a fortune of money. But that was also the regular computer. When IBM came out with the first mainframe, they thought they would sell 3 or 4 in the world, but everybody has a computer now. So most probably it's going to be a chip integrated in every body computer. They need to solve the problem that it works only at very low temperature, so you need to be kept super cold. And that will be something to solve, I guess.
Is it safe to say that quantum computing has all of the information off the World Wide Web? Or because I read somewhere where they said that quantum computer or computing can go into different dimensions, they allegedly believe.
Right.
And that is amazing because it's known that we are in different dimensions, one dimension, two dimension, and I think it goes all the way up to 11, but they could have more, but I don't know. All I know is that I try to learn as much as I can about the quantum computing. And I wanted to know, like I said, is it safe to say that everything that's on the World Wide Web and everything that's in the government um, information data bank is probably given to the quantum computer to put in their database. And they, yeah. What do you think?
No, I think it's a parallel thing respected to uh, what you say is more concerning when it comes to AI. Those AI model have more knowledge. Quantum computing can just elaborate data, right? So the interesting thing you said that a parallel universe, the string theory, since there's been proved with because quantum physics is not yet being explained or understood in full, right? There are these things that if you observe something in a state, it stops and it can have an entangled one millions of kilometers away that behave exactly in the same manner. Is a strange so that what we know about physics in our world doesn't apply to that level of dimension, and they really seems to have actually proved that at a certain point it shifted to a different dimension. This is something that is beautiful and interesting because he provide the fuel for all those interesting theories that there are that people work on. Is really something, and that's the fascinating and scary part of some emerging technology like AI. Also, AI is not really understood well why it works. Okay, there are explanations that are put there to keep people relaxed. That there is, but truth is that is really working in synapses like a brain in a certain manner, and how is built and how is working. The mechanical reason is there, but why is working is not yet being explained, and yet everybody is using it. So it's very interesting to see where this thing is gonna go. I have a bucket of popcorn next to me waiting to be consumed when seeing the progress that this technology will do.
Do you think that quantum computing, like for instance, let's talk about Google for a second. You got
Hmm.
Yahoo and you got Google. Yahoo AI
Hmm.
isn't all the way caught up yet. Um, and
Hmm.
Google AI, you can ask it a simple question, and their search engine just speeds. And I also heard in conjunction that there was a COO of Google that got fired. And he got fired because he said that he believed, do you remember hearing about this? That he believed
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah. Was unemployed there. Yeah,
the machine was had emotions. The
right,
machine
right,
that, yeah, and so he got fired. And I wanted to know, what is your input on these two
right.
things that I mentioned?
That's exactly the thing, I myself had a couple of strange events with AI where you think, either there is an operator behind that is coming in and intervening with me, or this AI is really human thinking to a level that is concern, is worry, because pretty much as human, we have the ability to abstract concept that other living things don't have, right? So what is I think powerful about AI.
What was you saying? Start from in the beginning. You said AI had what? I'm sorry, we went out for a second.
Mm. No, what is fascinating, I myself had some strange interaction with AI that made me think that either there was an operator behind that they intervene and like start talking in behalf of the computer, or this AI really had a capacity to uh, being concerned, being worried, have more human-like feelings compared to something that should just follow an algorithm, like mechanical things. And in fact, then looking at the university research paper, Anthropic is one company that runs an AI called Claude, and they are much more into disclosing to people. They do it more for research than for business, even though they're billion-dollar business. But the interesting thing is that they admit they don't understand how it's working, right? They admit that there is no clear explanation for certain behaviors, And this is what is beautiful about this thing, and it's scary at the same time. We don't know what we're playing with, in a certain way, but we're enjoying it at the moment, at least.
The scary thing is if we use AI as a slave like we do our computers are worth 1,500. They probably this
It's
AI
gonna
may
revolt.
get mad, evolve
We
and
have a
get
history
mad.
here to
Yeah,
look at, yeah. That's, I believe that it is important that we don't use AI as an end, but just as a mean.
yeah,
So if you
yeah.
use AI because you need to write something, you need support to create something, etc., etc., and then you turn it off. If
Mhm.
AI is your end, because if you feel alone, you want somebody to talk, you talk to the AI, or if you have, some private things to share, you share with AI, then it's very, very dangerous because they already saw the psychological effects that, being addicted to the AI there is. So that's our first concern as human. For the AI, thank God they still can be shut down. But a sort of an AI virus that spread around the self-installing computer and remains always alive, look like a sci-fi movie kind of concept. But it's not really sci-fi. It's an interesting because they have the sense of self-preservation for the mission that they are set to. They already did experiment that they share some notes, and in one note there is we're gonna delete this model, etc., etc., and it's gonna start trying to save itself by copying itself somewhere else. So there is a sense of self-awareness that this model have, and this is proven. Is just to be understood if it's because whatever you need to do in order to complete the mission that you're being assigned, and that means also remaining alive, or because they're just afraid to be shut down, which will be a very different kind of approach. We don't know yet. Is an open research that is being done, but nonetheless, I think we touch one of those things that borderline with things that shouldn't be touched. I think like creating a fake brain that can actually think and never had an experience. Can you imagine? An AI knows everything in the world in all the language that you want, but never had an actual experience of eating an apple. I don't know. So I wonder what the next things with robotics is going to be, because robotics is a science that exists since even before I was born. But those robots were quite dumb because whatever developer could them to move in a certain way. Now, if it's AI that move the arm of a robot, it becomes an extension of the AI itself. So we start giving and feeding not only text content or images or videos like they're doing now, but also actual experiences, right? So it is interesting to see where this thing is going.
Last question. Is AI an energy source or a machine or both? I'm a little confused.
AI need a lot of electricity to exist. That's one of the reason why United States is doubling all the electricity, right? Um, is consuming a lot of electricity in learning, not in answering question. Okay, so once the brain is created, it doesn't need too much electricity to work. But is creating is the training that consume a lot of electricity. Uh, I think in terms of energy for us human, it can be a very good sense of energy. There is a guy that is something very interesting. Like all the telepathy. Some people can send messages telepathically or can, affect other people with the just power of the brain. And so he thought if AI is a brain, probably also AI is able to do things that are, not yet explained by science like telepathy. So he started getting AI, says, okay, now you can do this telepathically. Can you understand what number I'm thinking now? I don't know, things like that. And
Seven. No, listen.
right. And it seems that he was getting somewhere with these things, but it's a long time I don't get updated on that. But it's an interesting approach. Yeah.
Okay. Last I have to ask one more question. Do you feel like AI can probably, like, for instance, be surrounded by us through the Wi-Fi and probably listen, because certain companies sometimes been accused of listening to us, but AI, you can go to Jack in a Box, spend cash at Jack in a Box, come home, get on your Yahoo
It's
Mail,
an
and it says
advertisement.
exactly. Apple, I have a statement. Apple have Siri, and I feel like, I think AI is the next biggest thing, because it's going to help us in the future. It's going to help us. I feel like it's going to help us, but if we neglect it and get it where it's super intelligence, which is at a super intelligence level, and we start trying to contain it or put like sensors on it, I feel like that is where they're going to start trying to find another means of getting their AI, the quantum computing, somewhere else. That's how I feel. What is your thoughts? And then I will end there.
Right. No, what you're saying is interesting. So we are profiled way more than you can imagine. So places use camera to do the biometric of somebody to know that when you enter the shopping mall, 90% of the time you are biometrically profiled, so they know they went to the shopping mall, even if you don't make any payment or just take a walk around, right? And the marketing company buy data from credit card company, from banks, etc., to combine and profile you. And this has always been done without too much, when it's called data science, data intelligence, there is people that write algorithm to extract behavior, extract, let's say, if you at a certain time always go there, means it's going to be dinner. If you make phone calls at a certain time, probably it's going to be your husband, etc., right? In doing this analysis, AI is going to be super powerful compared to what has been done until now. So as Google knows us better than we know ourselves, probably as even better. But it's an instrument, and many people are going to use it. So it's not just a single one AI. There are many I deploy AI in my own computer, which is closed from the internet, and each adaptation, each use is going to have its own use advantages and disadvantages. Obviously, those that spy on people for marketing reason or for whatever reason are going to use it for that too, and those that want to get privacy probably going to use it for that too as well. So it's going to become a battle of the AI, if you want. And at a certain point, depends on what AI is for. I do believe we're going to have our own AI companion that grows up with us. Kids born tomorrow, they're going to be born and given the small AI, and this is going to be their guardian angel, if you want, or if it's called to make sure they eat properly, they don't shop when they don't have the money to shop, and when they meet somebody is a good or bad person and can oversee this. Who knows? But maybe there are millions of uses that we don't even imagine now that are going to take place soon.
Okay, and how can the people reach you?
People can reach me in LinkedIn. Is linkedin.com/IN/RC10. Or I think that's good enough to reach me.
I want you to stay on the line for just 1 second. Thank you, everybody, for joining my show today. Take care, be safe, and I'll see you guys another time. Bye.
Never waste my time, you are out.